Welcome to this episode of The Conversation on this 13th of February, Valentine's Eve. My name is Blaise Bryant, and I might as well just call this segment Laughing with Lily. Lily Borntraeger is a freshman here at St. Rose. She is the host of the new show Shut Up and Listen, and she is also a stand-up comedian. At the end of January, she performed at the Metropolitan Room down in New York City as a stand-up comedian, and it's always a pleasure to hear the voice of Lillian Borntraeger. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. So let's talk about comedy. How did you get into it?
It's actually a funny story. So every year my town does a talent show, and I've never really been interested in it because I was more into acting and stuff like that. I was like, oh, you can't really do much with that. And my doctor, actually, who my family is really close with, was hosting it. And he was like, you're a really funny girl. He's like, why don't you try doing stand-up comedy? I was like, I don't know. I've never done it before. And this was when I was 15 or 16. And I was like, I don't really know. What do I do and everything? And he's like, oh, no, I'll help you. Don't worry. And so, lo and behold, I did my first show in my town for my talent show. And I laughed. I loved it. Everyone was so happy. And so ever since I've been doing it because it's so much fun.
Where did you grow up?
Salem, New York, which is 45 minutes east of Saratoga.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so do you remember where you performed?
Yeah, it was actually at my local theater, which I ended up interning at last summer. So it definitely opened a lot of doors for me, too.
No pun intended.
Yeah, right?
So as an intern, what did you do there?
Everything I learned because I want to be in the industry. So my mentor, Jay Kerr, who taught me so much, I learned how to do lighting and production and staging and, of course, on-stage stuff. But for me, I had never really been a part of, the behind-the-scenes kind of thing. So that's what I really focused on. And it was really interesting to learn how to, produce and take tickets and, keep the theater maintained and everything like that. So I had a lot of fun while I learned.
So kind of going off the Lion King, but you just can't wait to be queen, right?
Exactly, yeah. I can't wait.
Anytime the opportunity presents itself to make a Disney reference, I do it.
That's okay. I would totally appreciate your references to Disney Channel.
In musicals in general, I mean.
Definitely.
So do you think you're finding your corner in the sky?
I definitely do.
Oh, this is probably going to be the best part of the show.
Yay.
Yay. So in terms of comedy, who are your idols, do you think?
I like Kathy Griffin a lot because I like how she kind of walks that line, and she's kind of vulgar, but she's not too vulgar. But I like Kevin Hart too. We have a similar style. My sister always compares me to him, so if I could be like him, that'd be cool.
There you go.
Of course, Jimmy Fallon because he went to school here, but that goes without saying. Duh.
And he is on the Tonight Show.
Yes.
His first day is Monday, 11:30 p.m. on Monday night, and there is a viewing party at the TUI Forum in the Lowry School of Education.
Yes.
That day. They just created the event earlier today, so I don't know if What's Up St. Rose got to it, but either way, you heard it once, you're hearing it again. That means
Go.
He's an alum. Exactly. You got it. So, how do you think your comedy progressed? Because you had to, go somewhere besides the theater in order to get to the Met Ballroom.
Well, I started off kind of doing it on and off at my theater. Exactly. I read a couple of books on how to write and everything because I have no formal teaching or anything. So I kind of took a break once I was my senior and junior year of high school. I was kind of not really doing it, but I was. And then I came to school here and I was I have to do it now. It's time to perform and stuff. And my grandparents actually, my grandpa, he emailed the guy, Andy Eggle, I think his name is. Don't tell him I don't know what his last name is. And and my grandfather was like, oh, you have to see my granddaughter. She's so talented and everything like that. And so shortly I got an email and I got asked to perform there. So it was really, really exciting and nerve-wracking, but yeah.
How many people were there?
I don't know how much they seat, but they were above occupancy. I think they said they had to bring in like extra chairs. Like I was like crawling over people to get to the stage, and I was like, "This is not how I want to be remembered." But there was a lot of people, and I was definitely performed for more at my theater, which was like 90 or something like that. But I think they had like 60 or something. They still had a lot of people, and it was a really fancy place. I don't know if anyone's ever been there that's listening to this, but the Metropolitan Room's gorgeous.
I haven't been there yet. Yet. That's the operative word.
Yes.
So, who else was there?
Well, Andy Igel is one of the producers of Seinfeld. He was. I actually met the producer of Super Troopers.
Whoa.
I know. I don't know who he is, and I've never seen the movie because I'm kind of young. But it was still totally impressive. And they're coming out with the second Super Troopers, just so everybody knows. That's what he told me. I met one of the writers of The Daily Show. He performed there. I was so cool. I definitely fangirled. And
or networking.
Yeah. I was like, oh, hi, I'm Lily. Nice to meet you. Exactly. And Chris, there was a bunch of comedians, and I was like the youngest one there. Everyone was like 24. I think the oldest was like 34 years old or something. And we all auditioned for this guy, Chris, who is the owner of Gotham City Comics, and they have like a whole thing on Comedy Central and stuff like that. So you're performing a show, but you're auditioning for this guy too. So like when I was asked to return, I'm basically having like a callback kind of thing, which is totally exciting because I'm going to meet totally new comedians, and I might just be like the only one returning. So that's cool.
That's got to be a compliment.
Yes. I like to think so.
So take us through your set. What sort of stuff did you do?
So I did kind of not like a raunchy set, but like a foot forward set, I guess you could say, because Gotham City Comics and Andy Igel is like very, very raunchy and like known for that. And it's a type of comedy you don't want to like prolong your introduction or backstory. You just want to like hit your jokes hard and hit them fast, so everyone's like you're flying through them and everything. And so I tried to do that, and I talked about my mom a little bit and like how me and my sister were named and everything. I talked about my grandparents because they're your Long Island typical Italian couple, and they've been married for like 50 years. So it's always like fun to poke fun at them, I guess.
Why don't you, if you can, I mean, obviously not swearing, of course, but perform the Long Island grandparents joke, because that one that just seems so funny.
This was like the one appropriate thing in my set, so yeah.
Excellent.
Sure.
I picked the right one out.
Well, my grandparents are Bob and Sonny Farrow, and they have, let's see, which one is the funniest? Okay, so my grandma has diabetes, and one time we're like driving in the car, and they talk like this. They're like Bob and Sonny, and we're like driving, and they have like a small like truck, and me and my sister are in there, and my grandma takes her blood sugar while we're driving. It's not weird. It's okay, and it's like below, and she goes, "Oh my God, Bob, it's below 60. Bob, you gotta pull over." So like, my grandfather pulls over, and me and my sister are like, what's going on? And then my grandfather takes out like the needle, like the insulin needle, and just like shoves it in my grandmother's arm. And we're in a Stewart's, and people are walking by, and like people think that I have heroin grandparents. Like it looks like they just shot up heroin. I was like, oh, and it's like, all right, Bob, I'm ready. Let's go. I'm like, oh, I have heroin addict grandparents. Great. Thank you.
You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. Oh my gosh. That's
that was a funny one. Yep.
Now, how long was your set?
My set was 6 minutes because I also at the end, which was like kind of like my big joke, I talked about I guess I talked about sex, and sex is always funny. So I talked about
Except
me.
When you're not doing it.
Exactly, which was the whole point of my joke. So I talked about myself a lot, and yeah, it's probably not appropriate to talk about here on St. Rose Radio, but that was like my funniest like kicker line kind of thing. So it was about like 6 minutes was my performance was 5 minutes, but you can have a 6 minute set. So it was pretty good, pretty solid.
So, was it intimidating at all having other comedians who are older than you and likely had more experience in performing in front of the producers of let's see, the Daily Show, writers from the Daily Show and things like that?
Yeah, actually, like, I was so nervous. I was sweating. And then I got down there and I was like under the assumption like I was going to be like first or something like that. I was last before the headlining comedian. I was last. So I was like, oh, great. But everyone there, like, comedians are nice. We really are. And, like, we're funny. And so, like, when you got down there, I was immediately intimidated because these people were already in, like, a group. Like, they already all performed together. And I was, like, the new person to come in. So I was, like, excited. I was like, oh, hey, just, like, be yourself kind of thing. And I was like, oh, I'm really nervous. Like, that's my first time. I'm 18. And they're like, oh, my God, you're only 18. They're like, seriously, like, you're supposed to be so talented. Don't be nervous at all. Like, even if you royally mess up, you're going to be remembered because you're only 18. So that's kind of how I looked at it. I was like, don't worry. It's okay. I'm still 18. I've still got time. So I was completely intimidated. But they're all really nice. So they were all like, hey, don't worry about it. So.
And is that how you dealt with the nerves and intimidation, was just talking to them, or did you... have to do something before that?
And since I'm not old enough to drink, I just talk to people because I was so nervous. But you have to hang out downstairs and you can't listen to other people's performances or anything.
Really?
So I just sat downstairs and like went through my set a bunch of times and I was like, like I'm going to have a good time. Like I love doing this. So even if I mess up, like it's fine. And then I got on stage and I was like shaking. And then after like the first minute, I was totally comfortable and like I wasn't really nervous at all.
So... that must have probably been the most nerve-wracking minute of your life.
Yeah. I was like, holy God.
Like, how am I going to do this?
I know. I was like, oh, my God. Because then the announcer guy was like, oh, she performs all over the city. I'm like, yeah, that's a lie, but thanks. I'm like, yep, I'll take it.
Who fudged that bio?
Yeah, right? I was like, look, you can't say that. He's like, oh, I'm going to say it anyway. I was like, okay, whatever you want.
I mean, hey, whatever boosts your game, right?
Exactly. I was like, hey.
Because, it's not like everyone knew who you were and all that.
Yeah, and nobody did, which was kind of exciting, too, so.
and you got to talk about your Long Island grandparents.
Exactly, which is always fun, so I'm always down for that.
Have you ever performed that joke in front of them?
Yeah, actually, I first did that joke a couple years ago for my first performance, and my grandparents were there, and it was so funny because I'm also the type of comedian that laughs at herself because, like, I think I'm funny. So I will take the time to chuckle at myself. So I was, like, laughing the whole time when I was doing it. And they're like, you're kind of right. We do sound like that. I'm like, I know.
And do you think, as a comedian that laughs at themselves during the set, do you think that makes other people laugh too?
Definitely, because I know I have a contagious laugh to begin with. So other people are laughing, and then it's kind of like, because I'm only 18, it looks like quirky and like, oh, she's laughing at herself. So people laugh, and plus laughter is a comfort thing. So if I'm laughing, someone else is going to laugh, then 3 other people are laughing, and then the whole audience is laughing. So I think it's all right.
It's like when I was sitting in doing Awkward Hour, when that show was going on last semester. You would laugh, and I would laugh, and everyone would just laugh. And
yeah.
It was just, this giant fanboying.
Laughter. Yep.
It really is the best medicine.
It is. It really is.
I mean, even if it gets you through, this snowy day, because, there's going to be a lot of it. So.
Exactly. So just laugh.
Exactly. Just laugh and drink hot cocoa and don't do anything.
Sounds perfect.
Except listen to this show, laugh, and drink cocoa, right?
Exactly.
So, I was a big fan of George Carlin, of course, before he died. And did you ever listen to his stuff?
I might have. I really I'm not really good with comedian names, and that's probably sounds so terrible. But I know the jokes kind of thing. So maybe I did.
I'm trying to think of a place for your stuff. A house is just a place for your stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And that sort of thing. I have a friend of mine. He performs at Lark Tavern Monday nights at 8:00. I know you're kind of trying to get your name out there. Perhaps before you perform at the Met Ballroom again on the 22nd of February.
Yep.
So there you go.
I can check there out. Yes, I can.
And the doors. I'm sorry. The doors are always open because it's a tavern.
They always have to be open.
Well, you know what I mean.
I know.
Sign-ups start at 8 and performances start at 9. That's also a plug, too, you know?
Yeah. That's cool, because I'm always looking for, like, local places to do stuff, too, at.
Have you ever thought of any good Valentine's Day jokes?
Yeah, my lack of Valentine's Day is a good joke. I think Valentine's Day is always funny. Hallmark made this holiday up, so I'm not really feeling it.
It's like chocolates, cards, or sadness.
Exactly. And then everybody else who doesn't have a Valentine just eats food in lack of a Valentine. Ugh.
I know, right?
It's so sad.
The struggle is immensely real.
It is for, singles out there, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, that Beyonce song, All the Single Ladies. It's very apparent who is and who isn't.
Exactly. It is very, very apparent, and I always feel sad for that said person. Sad myself.
Yes, it's single sadness.
It is.
It's like, seriously,
well,
probably...
it's Forever Alone February, like...
There's the comedian. Nice improv right there.
Thank you.
Have you ever done any improv comedy?
I haven't. I've always, since, like, I was little and I was in, like, drama classes, I've always, like, been pretty good at improv, and I definitely use it when I'm on stage. Like, I made a really good joke about college on stage. Like, I didn't write it. I was like, don't go. It's, like, way more money. And, like, that was really funny. And I was like, I'm just being honest. So, like, I like improv. I would definitely do it all the time.
I mean, do you like it better than writing a set, or what do you think the advantages of writing a set are?
I think, like, the advantages of definitely writing a set are probably, like, so you know what you're going to say, because it is nerve-wracking. Like, any professional can get up there and forget what they're going to say. But, like, if you write a set and have, like, your basic ideas, you can basically go on stage and have it and then improv some other stuff based on, like, the crowd and, like, how you're feeling and stuff like that. But I would say, like, I genuinely like having what I'm going to say written down, and then I can, like, play with it when I'm on stage.
There you go.
Yeah.
And how is your set, if at all, going to change, do you think, between your performance at the end of January and your performance coming up in about a week and a half?
I'm definitely going to write all new stuff, and I'm actually auditioning for the St. Rose talent show, today.
Nice.
So I'm going to keep some of my stuff from my Metropolitan Room set. I'm going to bring some of it here to St. Rose, and then I'm going to kind of, like, dual use it. But for next week's thing, I'm going to just write all new stuff because, they've already seen me once. I got to go out there, shake a leg.
But isn't it important for comedians to have some sort of signature?
Yes, it is. And I think my signature, I'm a little young, I think, but I definitely think my signature is going to be making fun of my family because I do that a lot. So I made fun of my mom in my last set. I make fun of my aunts. My family is insane, so it's pretty easy to make fun of them. I don't have to do a lot of work. So I think that might be my signature thing. I'm still trying to, like, figure out what kind of comedian I am. Like, I don't want to ever talk about, like, politics because, like, they never excite me. It doesn't. So I'm still trying to, like, go with, like, my style still because I'm still young, still learning.
There you go. And I mean, do you think I would imagine being a part of, this radio club, because the shows that you do are pretty informal. I mean, Awkward Hour last semester, Are You Not Entertained, both semesters, and this year, Shut Up and Listen with Josh.
Yes. It definitely helps me a lot because usually I'm so used to, like, being funny with my facial expressions and everything like that. So when I'm on radio, I need to be funny with just my words and, like, my tone, which is an awesome skill to have when doing stand-up comedy, even if you're being seen still. So, and it is a lot of fun because I like radio. So I like it, and all the shows are pretty fun. So.
Except for this one, right?
This is the most boring, exactly.
I know. I mean, that's what I strive to do.
You achieved it.
I guess a word is a word till you mean what you say, right?
Exactly.
I thought I'd bring back a Disney reference. It's been about 20 minutes since I made one.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's just been too long.
Makes sense.
So, what's your favorite story in terms of performing? Like that one thing that someone did in the crowd that you were just like, oh my gosh.
I was performing for my second year at my talent show again, the second time I did it. And I was talking about, I had this really, really hot teacher, and I was talking about him, and I didn't know he was going to be, I didn't know he was going to be in the audience, and I started talking about him, and I was like fangirling, and lo and behold, he was right in front of me. But, like, I totally played it off. Like, I was just like, oh, I didn't know you were going to be here. But, like, oh, I'm really excited to see you. So that was so embarrassing and so funny. But it was totally awesome. It definitely made my set so much better.
And how did he take it?
He laughed. He's like, I think it's an important thing about comedy. You're supposed to feel a little uncomfortable, but you're supposed to enjoy it. I was like, exactly. He's like, you made me a little uncomfortable, but I enjoyed it. I was like, all right, good. I was like, thank God.
But, I mean, when did you realize while you were talking about him that he was right there in front of you?
I didn't really realize until I was like scanning the audience, and it was like one of my third jokes, and I was like, oh, hello. That's nice. Because I try to like not focus on everyone in the audience, but like I like to like scan, see who's out there. And then there he was with his wife and children. Yeah.
So, are you one of those comedians that when you scan the audience, kind of like Elisa Lampanelli, you just find someone and just make fun of them? Or pick on them, I should say?
I haven't made fun of anybody yet, but I know when I did my Metropolitan Room act, I had one guy that was like sitting right in the front that I just talked to the entire time. And then he saw me after the show and he's like, you did a really great job. I was like, thanks for listening and like talking with me during it. Like, I've never really made fun of anybody before. I've more been like, hey, this dude thinks I'm funny, but I've never been like, you know, hey, you in the plaid shirt.
Where's your stripes?
Yeah, right?
Have you seen any comedians live?
Yeah, I have. I've seen, well, there was one here that came during my orientation, or during my first week here, which was still like an orientation because they made you do a bunch of stuff.
Were they actually all right?
Yeah, he was pretty good. Everyone in the audience didn't really know what to do and wasn't like laughing and like being like boisterous. And he's like, this is a comedy show. Like, you guys are allowed to be loud and boisterous. And I was like, yes, I love this. So I like that. And I've seen, and when I was in the city, I saw, like, I heard, because you hear like through like a microphone of what they were saying. So I've heard people, but from the town I'm from there, I was the only comedian there. So.
Okay, I mean, I wasn't sure if, you know, you've ever been to see someone like an Anthony Jeselnik or an Amy Schumer or any of those people.
That'd be awesome. I'm not as what's it called, educated in the comedy world as I like to think I am.
Amy Schumer is coming to the Palace Theater. I believe it's March 13th. So
that's awesome.
A week from today. Or a week from today. Listen to me. A month from today.
I knew what you meant, so it's all right.
You know, besides the grandparents joke you made, the funniest part about this show is just me completely messing up everything.
It's all right. It's okay. I'm here to make sure everything smooths over.
There you go. I mean, I guess that's why, you know, we call it the conversation, right?
Exactly.
Or I call it the conversation, right?
Truth.
Have you ever thought about, because I know MISA does the MEISA, the Music Education and Industry Student Association. Mm-hmm. Wow, I got that right.
Yay.
Yay.
I don't know how.
They do open mics, and it's not just musicians that perform there. Have you ever thought about doing something like that?
I would love to do something like that. Unfortunately, like, I've been so busy with my first year that I haven't really heard of a lot like that St. Rose does. The first thing I've heard of is the talent show, but I would definitely love to. And if it's a musician thing, like, I just love going up there and be like, oh, it's a bunch of musicians. Let me just shake things up. Like, I love that.
So I would imagine because you're new and you're kind of getting your feet wet, so to speak, as a freshman, that's probably been the biggest challenge for you as a comedian?
Yes, yeah, definitely. It's been a lot to handle being a freshman and stuff and still like trying to write jokes. And then of course like my ultimate goal is like to be a famous comedian, and I have to finish school no matter what. So yeah, I'm still here, St. Rose, for 4 years.
And then when you become famous, you get the money, and then a good portion of it goes toward, paying off student loans and rising tuition.
Exactly. Maybe I'll make like a donation to the school. We'll see how the 4 years go. I'll decide after that.
We only have just a couple of minutes left, but how can people see your comedy and all that sort of thing?
I'm gonna put some stuff up on YouTube because I haven't done that. So I'm like, oh, I'm so scared. But like now that I'm like trying to get like myself going, I'm gonna put some stuff on YouTube, and then come see me in the talent show if I get in on the 26th. That would be awesome.
Is it the 26th of this month?
Yeah, February 26th, I think.
And all right, and either way, if it's in March, it's still a Tuesday because it's not a leap year.
Exactly.
So it's Tuesday, February 26th. We'll go with that, and if I'm wrong, well, I'll correct it off the top of the show next week, but that is all the time we have for this episode. Lily, I want to thank you so much for coming on and making us laugh and adding some humor to this lovely show.
Thanks for having me. It was so much fun.
A great pleasure. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Conversation on Radio St. Rose. If you have any questions or comments about the show, I would love to read them. My email address is Bryant, BRYANTB587 @strose.edu. You may also submit them via our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Radio St. Rose Conversation. Until next time, I'm Blaise Bryant.